Good morning, students. Last time we were discussing about our chapter human health and disease. So some of the topics we have already covered, and today also we are going to cover some of the topics of this chapter. And first topic for today's class is immune system in body. We have already talked about immunity. So this immune system, that is basically comprising of lymphoid organs, some tissues, cells. So हमारा immune system lymphoid organ से मिलके बना है, tissues से, cells से, and most important the chemicals that are going to directly fight against the antigens, and these chemicals are known as antibodies. So immune system is comprising of tissues, cells and antibodies. And what it is going to do? It is going to fight against foreign materials that are going to be entering in our body, antigens, playing an important role in allergies, autoimmune diseases, autoimmunity, that is also one of the thing we are going to discuss, and in transplants also, whenever there is organ transplant. So in all these aspects this immune system is going to function. So we are going to talk about the components of immune system. First is lymphoid organs. Lymphoid organs are those organs in which the immune cells are going to form and mature. ये वो सेल्स, ये वो ऑर्गन्स है बॉडी की जहाँ पर हमारी इम्यून सेल्स, हमारी लिम्फोसाइट्स, they are going to be formed and they are going to be matured. We are dividing these lymphoid organs into two parts. Some are acting as primary lymphoid organs and some are acting as secondary lymphoid organs. Primary lymphoid organs and secondary, we are going to discuss them a bit later. See, primary lymphoid organs are those organs in which the lymphocytes are going to form and mature. Lymphocytes are having our B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. So जिन organs में B lymphocytes और T lymphocytes बनती हैं plus जहाँ पर mature होती हैं, they are our primary lymphoid organs. Secondary lymphoid organs कौन सी होंगी? In which these lymphocytes are going to interact with antigens and where they are going to be converted into effector cells and they will function. So function जिन cells में करती हैं they will be the secondary lymphoid organs और formation और maturation जिन parts में होता है they will be primary lymphoid organs. So primary lymphoid organs, they are showing formation and maturation of lymphocytes. And examples of primary lymphoid organs are, कौन कौन सी organs behave करती हैं primary lymphoid organs में? These are bone marrow and thymus. बोन मैरो, हमारी जो लॉन्ग बोन्स होती हैं उन लॉन्ग बोन्स के बीच में एक कैविटी प्रेजेंट होती है, दैट इज फॉर्मिंग द बोन मैरो एंड दिस बोन मैरो is involved in erythropoiesis. WBCs and RBCs are going to be formed. Along with that, B and T lymphocytes are also going to be formed. So this is the place where B and T lymphocytes are formed, and also maturation of B lymphocytes take place in bone marrow. That's why they are known as B lymphocytes or B cells. थाइमस की जब हम बात करते हैं, दिस थाइमस इज प्रेजेंट इन चेस्ट रीजन. जो हमारी स्टर्नम है उसके बिल्कुल पीछे प्रेजेंट है, हार्ट के पास प्रेजेंट है थाइमस. एंड थाइमस इज गोइंग टू शो एट्रोफी. वाई? बिकॉज साइज में जैसे जैसे एज बढ़ती जाती है थाइमस का साइज रिड्यूस होता जाता है. सो इट इज गोइंग टू बी reduced in its size with increasing age, and this thymus is responsible for the maturation of T lymphocytes. Maturation of T lymphocytes. So lymphocytes, T lymphocytes are produced in bone marrow and they are getting matured in thymus. That's why they are known as T lymphocytes or T cells. So these are the organs that are involved in, these are the parts that are involved in formation and maturation of, you can say, antibodies or our lymphocytes. That's why they are the primary lymphoid organs. Now comes our secondary lymphoid organs. After maturation के बाद these B and T lymphocytes, they are going to enter into, they are going to move to the secondary lymphoid organs. These secondary lymphoid organs are tonsils, Peyer's patches that are present in intestine, spleen, lymph nodes. So these are the places where these mature lymphocytes, they will interact with एंटीजन. हमारे ब्लड में जो एंटीजन फ्लो कर रहे हैं, मूव कर रहे हैं या कोई फॉरेन मटेरियल एंटर करता है, उनके साथ ये इंटरेक्ट करती हैं एंड आफ्टर इंटरेक्शन विद द एंटीजन दे आर गोइंग टू बी एक्टिवेटेड and they are going to be converted into effector cells. So these are the places where they are going to function. So let's discuss in brief about these secondary lymphoid organs. Spleen is there. Spleen is a simple, or you can say main part of our lymphatic system, that is also acting as a blood bank. It is having lymphocytes, it is having phagocytes, even erythrocytes are also present in spleen. So it is a reservoir of lymphocytes, phagocytes, erythrocytes. Lymph nodes are present. These are present at interval in the lymphatic vessels. ये lymphatic vessels में intervals पे present होती हैं and these lymph nodes are also having lymphocytes that are again going to interact with the antigens that will be present in the lymph or tissue fluid. Next one is malt also. म्यूकस एसोसिएटेड लिम्फोइड टिश्यू जो हमारे रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक हैं, गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल ट्रैक हैं, यूरिनोजेनाइटल ट्रैक्स हैं, यहाँ पर म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन्स की लेयर, देयर इज लेयर ऑफ म्यूकस, cells are present which are going to release mucus. So they are also having these lymphocytes that are going to interact with the antigens that will enter through our mouth or through our nose. So these are our secondary lymphoid organs where the functioning of the B and T lymphocytes will take place. So this is the immune system in our body. Next we are going to talk about the disorders of immune system. Immune system का first disorder है allergy. So what do we understand by allergy? allergy is an inappropriate immune response to such things which are generally harmless to us. बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी हैं जो हमारे लिए harmless होती हैं, they are foreign particles, but there is something wrong in a person because of which that individual is going to activate immune system against then that harmless any material. It can be a pollen grain, it can be dust particles. So different type of allergens are there which are generally harmless to us, but sometime our immune response get activated against those objects or against those foreign particles, and that is known as allergy. So allergy is simply a inappropriate immune response of an individual to harmless foreign particles. Now the particles which are activating our immune system and causing allergy, those particles are known as allergens. And allergens can be of different type, and the reactions that our body are showing is also depending upon the allergen that is going to enter into our body. This can be pollen grains, pollen can be there, dust particles, radiations. So different allergens are there and our body is going to respond differently. The common things that are going to happen is sneezing, sometimes coughing is there, rashes, itching, running nose, running eyes. So these are the things which are going to happen: sneezing, running eyes, redness, itching. There is inflammation in our upper respiratory tract. Means our throat, trachea. So there are different type of allergic responses that are going to come against a allergen that is going to enter. Now what happens when an allergen is going to enter? जब एक allergen enter करता है, then what is going to happen? Our immune system is going to function, that is going to function against this allergen. So because of this allergen, the B cells, they are going to produce IgE antibodies. So whenever the allergen is going to enter, it is not happening in all the individuals. Just remember, in some of the individuals this thing is going to happen. That is also because of any of the inappropriate response. So what these IgE antibodies are going to do? These IgE antibodies, they will be attached on the surface of mast cells and basophils. Both are going to function in allergic reactions. So the mast cells are having IgE antibodies. Suppose this is a mast cell and IgE antibodies are present on its surface. Now these IgE antibodies, they are going to bind with allergen. So antibody is going to interact with the allergen that is entering in our body, and because of this interaction of allergen with IgE antibodies that are present on the surface of mast cell and basophils, these mast cells are going to rupture. And when these mast cells are going to rupture, they are responsible. We know that they are filled with histamine, so they are responsible for the release of histamine, and the main reason for the allergic responses is this histamine. So let's see what this histamine is going to do. This histamine that is released from the mast cells, it is acting as a allergy mediator. The main function of histamine is it leads to the increase in permeability of capillaries. ये capillaries की permeability को increase कर देता है. So increase the permeability of capillaries. One thing it is going to do. Another thing it is going to do is it leads to the contraction of smooth muscles of our respiratory tract like bronchioles. तो जब भी हमारी bronchioles की smooth muscles contract होंगी, so we are going to feel a breathing problem because tract is going to close. So breathing problem will be there. There will be contraction of smooth muscles of our respiratory tract, especially those tubes which are entering in our lungs. We can say contraction of bronchioles, and if bronchioles are going to contract, we are going to face breathing problem. This is going to happen again to the site or places because of the permeability of capillaries. Blood flow is going to increase at one particular site, and there will be accumulation of fluid. So fluid accumulation will be there, blood circulation. So we sometimes feel there is redness. कई बार हम देखते हैं कि skin rashes are there, redness is there, sometimes swelling is there. So this is because of increased blood flow and continuous accumulation of fluid. So all these things are done by this histamine that is released by the mast cell. So that is going to happen in allergic situations. Now allergy is of different forms. हमने अभी बात की कि डिफरेंट टाइप के एलर्जेंस की वजह से डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सेज देयर, डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ एलर्जिक रिस्पॉन्सेज देयर. सो वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट 2-3 forms of allergy. Simple one is that is occurring in most of the population, that is hay fever. And hay fever is because of the entry of pollen. This type of allergic reaction is coming in response to pollen. So when a pollen is entering, again this pollen is responsible for the eyes and nose, that is going to affect our eyes and nose. There will be running eyes, redness in the eyes, that is going to take place. And to treat this, antihistamine pills are taken. The second most common is asthma. And what happens in asthma? Again histamine is released. What histamine is going to do? It is going to constrict the smooth muscles of our respiratory tract. So the patient is going to feel breathing problems because the muscles are going to contract. So there will be no path left for the entry or exit of air. That's why respiratory problems are observed. Most, you can say, severe allergic response is anaphylactic shock. What this anaphylactic shock is? In above allergic responses, we were talking about only some parts of the body are affected. Anaphylactic shock is that allergic response in which most of the body tissues are affected. So that is a severe situation. So here most of the body tissues are affected. That means mast cells are going to release histamine, and this histamine is going to increase the permeability of blood capillaries, all blood capillaries that are going to present in our body. There will be more and more blood circulation. There will be release of body fluid in different parts of our body. So that is leading to a more severe situation in which all body parts are going to be involved. And again there will be diarrhea will be there, individual will feel like vomiting. So different secondary symptoms are also going to appear because of such situations. So this is how allergy is occurring. The next topic is autoimmunity. See, when we started talking about our immune system, at that time we said that our immune system is able to recognize our self particles, self proteins, self cells, self tissues, and it is also going to separate that from the non self particles. So our immune system is not going to function against our self body parts. When this system is going to fail, when there will be problem in recognition, self recognition by our immune system, at that time the autoimmune diseases are going to occur, or that condition is known as autoimmunity. Means our self defense mechanism is going to break down, and now our body's own immune system is going to destroy own cells of our body, and this is leading to various diseases, and those diseases are known as autoimmune diseases, because here our own immune system is affecting own cells of our body. If RBCs will be symptoms, again different diseases will be occurring depending upon our immune system is affecting which part of our body. Say if our RBCs are affected, so if continuously RBCs will be destroyed, there will be anemic situation, that will be known as chronic anemia. Sometimes our muscle cells are destroyed by our own immune system, that is leading to muscle weakening, or our liver cells, they are affected by our body's own immune system, leading to chronic hepatitis. So these are some of the conditions that are going to occur because of autoimmunity. Now if we say that why this autoimmunity is occurring, one of the reason for this autoimmunity can be sometimes the foreign particles that are entering in our body, these foreign particles are showing a very close resemblance with our body's own protein. So against this foreign particle our immune system is going to form antibodies, it is going to kill that foreign particle, but because that was showing a close resemblance with our body's own protein, these antibodies are going to target our body proteins also. So these are going to destroy our body protein. So our immune system is working against our own body protein, that's why we are saying this condition as autoimmunity. And the disease that are going to occur are autoimmune diseases. The diseases will be depending upon which part of the body is going to be affected by our own immune system. So that will be autoimmunity. Next one is immunodeficiency. Next disorder associated with our immune system is immunodeficiency. See what this word is saying, immuno standing for our immune system, deficiency, there is deficiency, deficient immune system, that means our immune system is not functioning properly, and because of the absence or improper functioning of our immune system, lots of diseases are going to occur. So that simply we understand by immunodeficiency. There is deficiency of immune system and that is leading to multiple diseases. Now the thing is that this immunodeficiency can be present in an individual from the time of the birth. It can be congenital, or it is present in an individual because of any reason after birth. So both the situations are there. This immunodeficiency, it can be because of absence of or less formation of B cells, or because of less formation or absence of T cells, because both the cells are working in our immune system. So either B cells are absent, that's why an individual is immunodeficient, or T cells are absent, that's why individual is immunodeficient, or sometime in more severe conditions both B cells and T cells are going to be absent. So that is immunodeficiency. There is a congenital disease that is present in an individual from the time of the birth, in which both B and T cells are absent. That condition is known as SCID. That is known as severe combined immunodeficiency. In such child, there is no formation of B cells or T cells. That means they are highly prone to infections because they are almost having a zero immune system. This SCID, that is caused by because of the deficiency of a hormone, that is adenosine deaminase. In our competitive exams, most of the time it is asked that which enzyme is responsible for not formation of B cells and T cells. That is adenosine deaminase, and when there is problem in the gene that is coding for this adenosine deaminase, that is leading to a severe situation, that is SCID. Now that is present by birth. Many of the times the individual is going to have a normal immune system, but because of prolonged illness, then the individual is ill from very long period of time. That can be one reason. There will be malnutrition, proper nourishment is not getting, the individual is not getting proper nutrition, that can another reason. So there are various reasons. There will be failure of any organ. So cancer, you can say bone marrow cancer. So different reasons are there because of which a individual lose his immunity. So that is the secondary immunodeficiency. So we are having two type of immunodeficiency. This one is the primary immunodeficiency, that is going to be present from the birth of the individual, and if after birth because of any reason the immune system is going to be deficient, that will be the secondary immunodeficiency. So that was about immunodeficiency, and because of this immunodeficiency various diseases are occurring, and the most important or most deadly one is AIDS. So we are going to talk about AIDS. Full form of AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, and it is a viral disease that is caused by a virus named HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. First case of AIDS that was reported in 1981 in USA. So this was the first time when a person was having AIDS. Now what this HIV virus is doing? This HIV virus is making a person immunodeficient by attacking on its cell mediated immune system. So it is going to affect the cell mediated immune response of an individual. And we know that this cell mediated immune response, that is because of the T cells, helper T cells. So HIV is going to destroy the helper T cells. और helper T cells क्या करती हैं? These helper T cells are activating B cells to release antibodies. So when helper T cells will be affected, B cells are not going to release antibodies, and if B cells are not going to release antibodies, that means if any foreign particular antigen is going to enter in our body, immune response will not be generated against that antigen. So this is what HIV infection is HIV virus is going to do inside the body of an individual. Now how a person is getting infected with HIV virus? See, there are some of the misconceptions that when we are sitting with a person who is infected with HIV virus, when we are shaking hand or using his clothes, utensils, or just sharing our lunch with such individual, these are not the regions through which HIV infection is spreading. HIV infection is going to spread when body fluids like blood is going to come in contact during sexual intercourse, semen is going to come in contact. So these are the reasons through which HIV infection is spreading. So let's talk about the different regions for the transmission of HIV infection. See, these are some of the reasons of transmission of HIV infection. Unprotected sexual intercourse with infected partner. In this unprotected sexual intercourse, the fluids, body fluids are coming in contact with each other, so there are chances of infection. Then there is use of contaminated needles and syringes, because these needle and syringes may have blood spots on their surface. So when these are used between multiple individuals, so a infected blood can come in. There are chances that infected blood can come in contact with the blood of healthy individual and infection can occur. Again same with the use of contaminated razors for shaving, because there might be a cut and blood spot will be present on the razors. So that can, after sharing, that can also lead to transmission. Use of contaminated needles for boring ear pinna. In females mostly for boring ear pinna needles are used. So if one needle is used for multiple individuals, chances of transmission can be there. Transfusion of infected blood, main reason. So whenever blood transfusion take place, then screening of blood is required. Organ transplant. If from an infected person a organ is transplanted to a healthy person, so chances of infection are there. Artificial insemination. When semen is artificial insemination simply means semen is artificially introduced into the uterus or reproductive tract of a female. So if the semen is going to be infected, again infection is going to occur in a healthy individual. And parturition. From when birth of a baby is taking place, there are chances that rupturing of blood vessels is there. Blood of mother is coming in contact with baby, and this is how transmission of AIDS or HIV infection occurs from mother to baby. So these are some of the methods through which AIDS is getting transmitted. Now let's talk about the structure of HIV virus and how it is infecting our T cells. See, HIV virus is a retrovirus. It is a retrovirus. Means it is having RNA as its genetic material. So in the center, RNA as a genetic material is present. What other things are present? There is an enzyme present in HIV virus, that is reverse transcriptase enzyme. We will see the function of this reverse transcriptase. So an enzyme is present, that is reverse transcriptase. Other than this reverse transcriptase, two protein coats are present. Coats are present. Lipids are, there is lipid membrane that is present, and glycoproteins, lipid membrane and glycoproteins are there. So these are present in the structure of HIV virus. This is how one protein coat is going to be present. And inside this protein coat, single stranded RNA is there along with reverse transcriptase enzyme. Outside to it, another protein coat will be there. This is how the second protein coat is available. I am just making this section only. Then there is a double layer of lipid that is going to be present, and here glycoproteins are present on its surface. So this is how the whole structure of HIV is present. This is about the structure of HIV. Now how this HIV is infecting our T cells. First of all, when this HIV is entering in our body, it is going to infect macrophages. We know macrophages are the phagocytic cells and also function as antigen presenting cells. So they are going to infect the macrophages. HIV virus is going to introduce its RNA inside the macrophages. Now macrophages are having DNA. Then what this HIV virus is going to do with the enzyme reverse transcriptase, this HIV virus is going to make a copy of DNA, and with the help of enzyme reverse transcriptase. This is done with the help of reverse transcriptase. So it was having RNA as a genetic material, but because the host cell is having DNA as the genetic material, so it has made a copy of DNA with the help of reverse transcriptase, and now this DNA will be integrated with the DNA of macrophage. So if suppose this is a macrophage and this is the genetic material, say I am showing it simply by this, not that much complicated. So here the cDNA of virus will be integrated, and this DNA is going to take over the host machinery, macrophage, and by taking over to it, it is going to produce its own proteins and multiple copies of DNA, and from here multiple new RNA viruses or HIV virus are going to come out. They are going to burst these macrophages and hundreds of viruses are going to come out. These viruses are going to affect new macrophages and ultimately they are going to affect the T cells. In the same way, they are going to affect the T cells, integrate their DNA with the DNA of T cells and make hundreds of copy of viruses and finally rupture these T cells. So, rupturing will take place, and because of this continuous rupturing of T cells, the cell mediated immune response will be weak, and there will be weak immune response, then there are more and more chances of infections. Major infections like tuberculosis is major in individuals who are suffering from AIDS, pneumonia is there. So, even a very mild disease is going to show very severe symptoms in such individuals whose immune system has become weak, and that has been done by this HIV virus because of the huge destruction of T cells. Now, for treatment, either antiviral therapies are done that are directly affecting HIV virus, or there are some drugs which are acting as immunostimulants, they are given so that immune system becomes strong. But there are no such drugs that are responsible for the cure of AIDS, because that is, you can say, repressing the growth of HIV to some extent, but cure of AIDS is not available. The only thing that is available is prevention. So, if we are going to prevent the transmission of AIDS, that is the only thing that makes us safe. So, for prevention, the most important thing that is required is to educate people, mostly those who are on the risk stage and who are more prone to HIV infections, the individuals who are drug addicted, who are taking intravenous injections for drugs, and who are having multiple sexual partners. So, there are some associations like AIDS Control Coordination Association, some non-governmental organizations also, they are awareing people about the transmission of AIDS, benefits of using condoms. So, these things the individual should be aware so that AIDS can be prevented. Whenever there is use of syringe, there will be use of such syringes which are disposable. So, only one time use should be there. During blood transfusion, there will be particular screening of the blood so that the infected blood cannot be transfused in the body of a healthy individual. So, these are some of the preventive methods that are going to prevent the transmission of AIDS, because we know that when an individual is going to have AIDS, there is no cure for that. So, prevention is only one method. So, that is all for today. Next time we are going to discuss about cancer.